Welcome to Photoshop DMAD 193. My name's Marty Speth, and I'm going to put this so that I'm like the only viewer right now. So let me see how I can do that. Choose video filter, set video. Oh, I think that's up here. Here we go. Okay, and then those of you who are able to tune in right now, if you would please make sure that you're muted. That way we won't get any background sounds coming out during the recording. Okay, so my name's Marty Speth. I've been teaching at Orange Coast College, oh my gosh, for too long. But I just love it there. I actually started in 1995, and I developed the very first Adobe Illustrator course just when Illustrator was coming on the market. So I'm real familiar with that program. And then I picked up Photoshop. Actually, Photoshop terrified me in the beginning, looking at all those tools. I thought, oh my goodness, never going to be able to master this. But the real trick is just practice, just doing some of those tools over and over again and getting real familiar and comfortable in what they can do. It's amazing how fast you'll pick it up. And that's part of the structure that I have planned for this semester, is that you'll be working with certain tools every week so that you'll get some real hands-on experience with those so that you're real comfortable. And hopefully then at the end of the term, you're going to remember them and be able to go back to those tools and start creating work on your own and be very intuitive about, oh, I'll use this tool. I know what that does to get where I want to be. Prior to starting at Orange Coast College, I had an advertising design firm, and I actually I have it more in a freelance capacity now, but it was my full-time occupation for about 15 years. And then about a year after I started working at OCC, I got an offer that I couldn't refuse to go be the VP of Creative Development for the Vatican Library collection. Yeah, the Vatican, the fellas in Rome. And there was a gentleman in Orange County who purchased the licensing rights to the library, and the licensing rights were for the art that was there. So we were able to reproduce anything that was in the library and make limited edition prints. We had books, we had posters, we had stationery. It was pretty amazing. And that's when I learned how to use Photoshop. I really didn't know how to use it until then, but my job demanded it, so I learned it. And it was pretty humbling to be able to be retouching Da Vinci etchings and just some of those amazing manuscripts with the calligraphy that they had. And I learned a lot about typography and the early history, which is why really helped my typography history element in my type classes. So then I went back to school and got my master's, and then came back to OCC because I really love teaching, and I love the excitement that the students have and love to see the work that they develop and help nurture them along in their career paths. So that's kind of a little bit of background about what I did and where I came from and why I'm here. And I'm glad you all had time to be able to show up today and learn a little bit about our class. I want to tell you a little bit about how it's structured. Before I do that, I want to be sure to let you know that if you need to contact me, please use the Canvas inbox. After like the first week of school, I don't really go on the general email for the school because there's so much stuff that comes through. it's hard to, I miss things, with students will email me, and I've got the Canvas open the entire term, and I'm checking it several times a day. So if you've got questions that come up, it's real easy for me to just get back to you right away. So please use Canvas email. Today is, because it's just a 4-week term, it's like every day equals 1 week of a normal term. And so the deadlines are sort of adjusted that way too, which means that tonight at midnight is the final time that you could drop the class and get a full refund. You can still drop the class tomorrow, but you won't get a refund, and you'll get a W on your grade report. So, if you're wavering, now's the time to make your decisions about whether you feel like this course is going to be the right thing for you. Because I don't want students to lose money. I know how hard it is to earn it. Okay, so on to class structure. You do need a high-powered laptop, like a high-end laptop, or a desktop computer to be the most successful in this class. I think there are some modified programs that you can use, like on an iPad, but the memory that's required for Photoshop and all of its layers can be quite extensive, especially some of the pieces that we're going to be working on. So you really do need to have a laptop with lots of memory or a desktop. If you need one, the school has laptops that they can loan. And I didn't get a chance to check how to go about doing that, but I don't think it's changed. I think you can check them out at the library. You can also go to George, who is our amazing tech person who's on campus, and he sits in the office between the 2 computer labs that are on the 2nd floor of the Fine Arts building. So he can help you out too. He's wonderful and knows everything technical. And if you check out a laptop, you'll have it the entire term. So you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to get it back next week. You've got it for the entire term. This class it isn't an intro class. You should all have taken the DMAD 181 class, which is the intro, which basically gives you like a half a term of Illustrator and half term of Photoshop. So you kind of get familiar with some of the tools and the workspace. And then this class and my Illustrator class basically picks up where the 181 ends. And if you've not taken the Illustrator class, sign up for spring, because it's got really low enrollment right now and it might get cut. So I'm trying to do everything I can to boost that class so it'll run. Let's see. Normally, like in my type class and in my Illustrator class, I structure those classes as kind of a progressive build. It's a little bit different in Photoshop because there's so many different tools and there's so many different ways of achieving the same result that I kind of look at each assignment as being kind of a standalone, where the class exercises that we'll do each week are ways of introducing you to the tools that you'll use in the assignment. And I build each module with the end goal of that assignment. So I try and pace it out so that it doesn't become overwhelming for you. So it's probably best to approach each week, each day, just try to go through the module each day. There's a lot of information, probably more information than you ever knew there would be about Photoshop. And really, you don't need it all, but a general understanding, like for instance, 1 week is a focus on masks. So there's lots of information on masks, but it's an overview of all the different type of masks that you can make in Photoshop, whereas our assignment or the exercise may only focus on one or two of those. So we get more in depth with some of the features. But I did try to make it comprehensive so that you could really get a full understanding of how powerful Photoshop is. It really is an amazing program. You know, when it started out back in 1993, I think, it was really just a retouching program for photographers. And now, oh my goodness, I mean, you can build websites on it. You can work in a 3D environment. You can do vector art with it. You can, what else can you do? I mentioned websites. And of course you can make your own creative work and modify photos as well. So it's just gotten to be huge. It's like the #1 image manipulation program in the world. It's just fantastic. And so I kind of look at Photoshop as like our brains. You know, they say we only use like 10% of our brains. We use 10% of Photoshop. It's like the tools that you learn to use, those are the ones that you keep going back to when you build the pathways and you learn those tools and learn how to adapt to get to where you want. And you just pick up more and more as you go along. So don't be intimidated by all that it offers you, because the best approach is just a little bit at a time. So the goal is to learn some new tools and skills. And the class is structured with videos and tutorials and examples to help you learn that. And one of the things that's really wonderful about Photoshop is that some people say, well, how do I know it's finished, right? When do I know when my artwork is done? And when it looks right, it's done. You know, it's that easy and that hard. But it really is about, you know, does the contrast look good, or is it looking right, or the edge is looking good? Yeah, it feels finished. It looks natural, you know. So sometimes that happens remarkably quickly. And sometimes it takes a little bit of fussing to get things to look, you know, the way you want them to look. So just be patient with yourself, be patient with the program, and we're all going to end up at the end of January with great work. Every week there's a discussion. There's 2 class exercises. I've got one week where there's 3, and I'm considering pulling that. I think it might be too much, but we'll see how that goes. There's a short quiz each week. It's only 5 questions, and that's just terminology, some of the terms that you've learned that are the more common tools or common verbiage that's used in Photoshop. And there'll be 4 assignments, one that you'll do each week. The 3rd assignment, I think that one takes a little bit longer. I think you actually have like 9 days on that one. And then the 4th assignment is just a 5-day assignment, the very last one, because the class ends on a Friday. Then I open the modules on Monday. And that assignment goes very quickly. So, you know, hopefully you're going to feel like the pacing is right, even though it's going to require dedication to power through. But I think I found that people that take these 1-month classes are really, they're really devoted to learning and getting it done, and everybody does just great. So and I think it's good because you can just focus on the one class, you know, where, you know, in the middle of the semester where you might have 4 other classes going, you know, your mind is always like kind of broken up to, oh, I got to go here and I got to do this and do that. But now just being able to focus solely on Photoshop, I think it makes it really fun. And I think your learning just accelerates very quickly. So I hope you'll find that to be the case too. Okay, we talked about email. What else? Okay, if there are any questions you'd like to ask now, you're welcome to do that after, if there, if once I answer any questions that you might have, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you some examples of the assignments that you'll be doing this term. So if you have any questions, you can just go ahead and unmute yourself. I'll also, again, allow time at the end of our session here. If you want to talk to me, not on the recording, we can do that too. But if you have a question that you think everybody would benefit from, please ask. Okay, I guess that means nobody does. All right, so let me share. Oh, that wasn't it. Let's stop that one. Let's try that again. System privacy. Uh-oh, let's try this again. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So you've probably already seen some of these examples for this first assignment. So I think I've got 6 of them in here. Hopefully these are not the ones that I've duplicated within the lessons. But the idea is that you're in the first assignment, you're going to be developing a playing card. You're going to choose a face card, a king, a jack, or a queen, and you're going to design both the face card and the flip side. And so the idea with this, I mean, we're going to be using the vector tool, so that like the K and the diamond, those are vector shapes. You're going to collage the face card from images that you're going to find on the internet. And you'll also, actually, this one was not done correctly on the flip side. I really wanted a pattern here. But the idea is that if you took this card and you rotated it 180 degrees, you would not know which side was up and down. Now, he put the word flash on there, so you're going to know whether the card's upside down or not. And so we don't want that. We want, like this one is correct. That card that's on the left, if you rotated it, you wouldn't know if the card was upside down or not. And same with a face card. If you turn it, it looks exactly the same. So some of them look very realistic. Some of them, look like animes. And the most difficult part is this transition. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but this transition on the body of this Titan's sculpture, right where it transitions from the one arm to the next arm, that's the tricky spot on all cards, because you have to make that kind of look seamless, like, oh, it looks natural, it's not like, it blends smoothly. This one has a really nice pattern on the right side. You'll be learning how to create a pattern in Photoshop this week as well. Nice pattern on this one. And this one rotates very nicely too. Our second assignment is a colorizing technique. And this is the only assignment of the term that I give you a little homework at the end of the week. And that's so that over this next weekend, I want you to go find a photo, a black and white photo that you can use, that we're going to end up colorizing and making it look like maybe it's not so old. And a lot of students you can get sources from the internet, or if you have old family photos, those work great, and they make really lovely gifts for family members too. So just a couple of examples of black and whites that have been brought into color. I think this one is really amazing. I mean, it looks very realistic. This one has a little bit of distortion going on, but the artist student also put a filter on the color version to give a kind of a smoky nightclub feeling to it as well. And that's fine. This is the assignment that you'll probably have a few more days on. It's a little bit more involved, and we get into typography. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. I'm losing a little bit. There we go. There's the top. So we get into how to get imagery inside of letters. You'll be collaging for the cover. You will be working a little bit with hierarchy. You'll be putting a barcode on it someplace. And you get your chance to be a creative writer too, to come up with some of these articles that might be inside your magazine. So some of them look very contemporary. This one I think is really quite beautiful. You know, the really clean letters do give it a very futuristic look. Really fun one. This one was the idea was, you know how there's like a time for kids edition. That's what this one was developed for, so that kids would get interested. Doing things that are surreal is game as well. And there's some requirements as far as how much language needs to be there and so forth. And then our final assignment, and this is the one that is really just a 5-day. We use the mixer brush, which is a really fun brush to use, because you can take a photograph like this image that appears on the left, and then you can turn it into a painting like what you see on the right. And it goes really pretty quickly. And then from that painting, then you're going to be applying that to some products, like they're products that you can sell. So I have 3 different sets. Like this is the painting that the student created from the photograph. And then she applied some of it to a t-shirt, to a tote bag, and then as a mural. And then the basics, like the here's another painting. I give you the resources for like the t-shirt with the background on it. So you just need to put the graphics on. So I've taken a chunk of the work out of it for that last assignment, so that you're not doing quite so much. And the tote bag too, this is a provided file, so that you just need to map your graphic onto the tote bag. Same with the brick wall. And here's another flower example. A little different approach. On the t-shirt, the tote. I like how this one's cropped a lot. And the wall mural. I think this could actually be improved, but I like the set altogether. And I think the painting was a real nice painting. Okay, so I'm going, and that's it. That's all the that I have to show you there. So I'm just going to come back to me. and see if any questions came up after seeing the examples. Oh, come on, you guys are too easy. Okay, well, I don't really have, I mean, that's really all I wanted to do was just to just give you an overview, let you know who I was, let you realize that there really is a person behind the wall. And I do read, oh, I do read all of the discussions. I participate in the first one just because I want that exchange. But usually the discussions, unless I need to interject, I look at those as your space to be interacting with your colleagues. So I kind of step aside on the discussions. When I grade the large assignments, um, I usually have my own critique to tell you, and that you'll find that either as a recorded text, not a text, but just as a voice recording, or I've written something within the assignment for you. Um, and you can always, when you turn in an assignment, if you've got a question or, something you want me to know while you're turning an assignment in, there's an area, you're probably familiar with it at this point, but below the grading rubric, it says assignment comments, and you can talk to me and tell me what's on your mind there too, and I'll respond to you. All right, so I'm going to stop the recording.